I'll ask you the questions like we did in there before, and you can just answer them as you want to, and then we'll get into the more specific stuff as we go. I'll make sure we got I think we got everything pretty good. Let's see. That looks better. All right. What is your full name, sir?
Delaney Jordan Kervin.
All right. What's your date of birth?
July 22, 1936.
All right. And where were you born?
McKenzie, Alabama.
Would you say McKenzie is your hometown, or were you just born there?
I was just born there, but.
Okay. All right. And could you describe or talk about a little bit about your early life and what some of that, you growing up, your childhood was like?
Well, we moved to a little village south of Greenville called Cobb City. And that's where I spent the first 16 years of my life. We lived in 2 or 3 little places there, but my mother and my sister and I lived in a 3-room house. And of course we did have electricity. But it was a real small, I wouldn't call it a cottage by any means, but it was a small house. We didn't have running water, but it was cozy for 3 of us. And later on, I moved a little bit north Cobb City and stayed with my Aunt Sally and Uncle Oscar. Most of my next 10 years was with them. 10 or 12, 14 years, but anyway. And that's where my great days were, the days that I remember and I love so much. You know, there was three or four, I had 3 good buddies, Tom Langford, Jack Young, and Jimmy Ernest. And we beat the roads barefoot, of course. As soon as school was out, we went barefoot, and we had a creek down us, part of Hawkins Creek, and in a bend in that was a place we called 7 Foot. That's because it was supposed to be 7 foot deep. But we spent many, many happy days swimming in that creek, and of course in our birthday suits and having a good time. But we would camp out pretty often, and we took our own food to cook. Jack was a cook. And we would always take a .22 rifle to keep the snakes and the ghosts off. And it was just great summer days, you know, living a life of leisure and having a great time. And that's my most cherished memories, really. It was my childhood in Cobb City. We later moved on to Greenville, and I graduated from high school in 1954. I joined the Army in 1955. I had spent a year in the National Guard prior to my joining the Army. But anyway, I was sent to Okinawa for 29 months. And then I came back home and was discharged in 1957. And I went to enrolled in college at Troy State College at that time. And I spent 3 years and graduated in 1960. Married in 1960. Moved to Crestview, Florida and taught school for 10 years. And then had one child while we were there, Jeff. And we decided in 1970 to move to Troy, Alabama. That was where my wife is from. And we moved to Troy, went to work in the Pike Liberal Arts School that I just opened, that private school, and we went to work there. Taught 30 years there and retired in 1970. And here I am.
That's good. Very good.
Retired in 1970.
We did, Pike Liberal Arts,
Or
2000.
2000.
so 1972, 2000. I know what you meant.
You know what?
I was in kindergarten when y'all retired.
Yeah, we didn't get to be out there while you were
I
there.
don't blame you.
No, I hate we missed that. Y'all, they ought to had y'all sooner.
Sorry.
Well, they'd be older now.
Well, they'd have a little boy. You'd have a little Jolena.
What year did you graduate?
2014.
2014.
Yeah. Seems like almost 10 years ago now.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yes, it is. All right, we'll stop it right there. That on the next part. What was, I guess, what age and what was your first job that you had growing up?
To make money?
Yes, yes, earn an income job, yes.
Well, I had a part-time job, summer job with Mr. Joe Hunt, who had a son about my age, and Mr. Joe was crippled. And his wife ran a boarding house at that time. And he told me that he would buy me school clothes for next year if I'd work for him that summer. And I said, that's fine. He said, of course, you can eat with us too. In a boarding house, they fixed 3 meals a day because they had boarders that spent the night, so. And then people would come off and eat. But anyway, I could eat 3 meals a day there, and plenty of it. So I worked with Mr. Hunt that summer, and I expected to get my 3 pair of pants and 3 shirts, but instead, he gave me $40. And it was more money than I'd ever seen, you know. So that bought my school clothes. And at that time, we had to buy our own books to go to school, you know, when you went to school. So I could buy my books and all the clothes I needed. And so actually, it turned out really good. Then after that year, I was lucky and got me a job at the NPT company because I turned 16. And I got 75 cents an hour, and which was huge money. At that time, I needed some dental work because I'd never had a toothbrush. And I needed a bed to sleep on. And I bought me a little shift robe, cedar shift robe, and I bought me a radio. So I had my own radio, my own bed, and I helped my mother pay rent on the house, and we set up housekeeping, she and I, because she worked at the hospital as maid. And I finished my 2 years of school working at the A&P, and I also joined the National Guard when I was in senior in high school to make a little bit of money on the side too. So that rocked on. We graduated in 1954. So I decided I was in the National Guard, and on the bulletin board in the Army, I read where it said if you join the regular army, we'll pay for you to go to college 3 years. So I tried to get my two good buddies to go in with me, and they wouldn't, but I decided I'd go in the regular army so I could get a GI Bill to go to college. And I did. While I was in the military, they sent me to Okinawa for 2.5 years, or 29 months really. And I came back home and enrolled at Troy State College. And I got the GI Bill, and I went to school, graduated from Troy State. I married a girl I saw one time and took her off, and we got married. I'm still married to her after 65 years. But anyway, we went to Crestview, Florida, and taught school for 3 years, and came back to Troy, and went to the private school and started teaching, and taught there for 30 years, I guess. And I went back and forth to Auburn to get my master's degree. I got my master's degree in 80, I reckon, 75, 80. And the GI Bill paid for that too. And then along the way I went back in the National Guard. So I retired from the National Guard and retired from teaching. Worked a little bit at Lockheed Martin as a guard. And I just quit that. And here I sit.
I was gonna see if you could. No, Nana would probably remember more of this. I don't know which one of y'all would about your wedding day. I know y'all have been married for a long time. Can you remember anything that sticks out to you about your wedding day itself?
That's too far back. I can't remember that far. I really don't remember too much about it. I mean, I had to be at the church at a certain time, or else. But it was good, pleasant. We had a good show. And we went to, I think, to Sylacauga our first night, and on to Chattanooga and Lookout Mountain, next to our honeymoon. And we've been married 62 years.
The weddings have changed a little bit since
sure.
Y'all got married, yeah. So.
I haven't even been to one hardly.
They are.
But we married in a little small church. The only place I'd recommend marrying is a church.
People. The barns are big, man. Everybody gets married at a barn, man.
And time to go by so fast, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Yes.
We had 2 children, and we had a first grandchild when he was 19. When were you born?
96.
96.
1996.
I should have remembered that. I'm 60 years older than you. I should remember that. And you was my sidekick for a long time.
That's right. Okay, we're talking about that, and you talk a little bit more about your children, and then their children, I guess, or your grandchildren.
Well, Jeff was our oldest, of course. We had him in 63. And he was our pride and joy, of course, for a long time. Roosting Then Kelly came along about in
11 years later.
11 years later. And she was a little girl. We was, one thing about Kelly, you know, she couldn't see, and we didn't recognize that or pick it up until she was about 5 or 6 years old. You needed glasses young too, and we didn't pick that up. I don't see why I didn't, as much ball as I threw you and everything. But we didn't pick that up. And then we got 2 grandchildren by Kelly, Jackson, and Cole. One by Jeff named Joel Delaney. All are such good things in my life. My life has been really good since I married. The Lord has looked after me, blessed me, is what I should say.
Now you talked about your childhood a little bit. What would you say was your best or favorite Christmas present you got as a child?
Well, I got a black and white bicycle. It was a pretty thing too. And it was new, it wasn't rebuilt, it was a new bicycle. And that was precious, because $65 sounds like very little money now, but at that time for my mother that was a terrible amount of money to spend on a bicycle. But Santa Claus brought it, so it was free.
How old were you at that time?
About 12. 12 or 13, I would say.
Okay, good. How long did you keep it for? A long time, or
yeah,
rode it forever?
Till I was 20.
All right. I know you talked about some of your friends already. Who would you say? I guess it could be for your whole life. Who would you say is your best friend or has been your best friend?
Other than my first grandboy?
Yes. Of course. That goes without saying.
Or the 3 grandboys I have. Well, you have to go back to Tom Langford and Jack Young and Jimmy Ernest. We went to 7-foot swimming, you know, endless times, and camped out at endless times. We had a favorite place called 7 Foot down in Hawkins Creek, and we would go down with our frying pan and the eggs to cook, and Jack was the cook, and he did a good job. But we built fires, you know, and cooked and laid under the stars and sang and just had a good time. And at that age, we also took a .22 rifle. Every time, I don't know why they let us do that, but we did. We took a .22 rifle and wound up sometimes trying to shoot mosquitoes with .22 rifles. But Jack was a good cook. He fried our eggs and fried our bread too and everything. Really good time with that. Later on, you know, it ventured out further and further, went further and further from home. I wouldn't dream of letting my 12-year-old do that now, but, you know, things were good. The good days were good, people were good. You never heard of crime or to amount to anything. So you just wasn't afraid.
All right. good on that part too.